The humiliation of Donald Trump did not end in Alaska when Vladimir Putin's plane took off back to Russia. It has been nonstop, not just because Trump continues to capitulate, throw our allies under the bus, and humiliate himself, but because new leaks have been exposed of what took place at that meeting and just how pathetic Donald Trump looked. And the latest might be the worst of them all because the White House is now desperately trying to cover it up. We are going to get into it all, how Trump is pathetic and how Carolyn Leavitt is panicked. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into the gift that Donald Trump gave to Vladimir Putin and how the White House is now trying to cover it up, I want to start with the other issue for Trump that they tried to cover up during his meeting with European leaders, and it was his big, fat, swollen ankles.
Well, tonight's Breaking Jeffrey Epstein news picks up where last night's Breaking Jeffrey Epstein news left off. Congressman Robert Garcia, the top-ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, joined us last night after his committee conducted a 4-hour closed-door deposition of the worst attorney general Donald Trump got confirmed by the Senate in his first term as president, William Barr. The Republican chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, suggested last night that William Barr testified that Donald Trump did nothing wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Congressman Garcia is now insisting, quote, yesterday during his deposition with the committee, Attorney General Barr could not clear Donald Trump of wrongdoing. Chairman Comer should release the full, unedited transcript of his interview for the public. Congressman Garcia will lead off our discussion again tonight. Donald Trump has a lot to hide from these days, and more than one way of doing it. European leaders rushed to Washington yesterday to conduct an intervention in the White House to prevent Donald Trump from doing something crazy with Vladimir Putin. And the intervention worked, at least for a day, at least for now. The White House released this photograph of the intervention showing how Donald Trump chose to hide his newest problem during the intervention, his ankles. After photographers have repeatedly captured Donald Trump's swollen ankles over the last month, the White House released a statement saying that the swollen 79-year-old ankles were a symptom of chronic venous insufficiency. That's one of the ways a lifetime of McDonald's junk food catches up with you. One of the places those Big Macs are going to show up is in the ankles, hanging over the edge of your shoes. We can only wonder if the White House would have ever admitted that Donald Trump's blood circulation is insufficient if not for the telephoto lenses of White House photographers zooming in on the ankles.
Are cover-ups the only thing they do at the White House anymore? Is that it? Is that all that Donald Trump has ever focused on? We talked about yesterday, Pam Bondi is trying to cover up for the fact that she's taking gifts every time she can get them, and she's more focused on breaking ethics laws than making sure our laws as a country are enforced. But yeah, it's just a cover-up for the White House all of the time. That's about it. And one of the worst of them was pretending that Donald Trump didn't run away to his buddy Vlad in the middle of his meeting. He did, and it's important context before we get into that gift. Putin gave Trump strict 15-minute deadline for a late-night call to the Kremlin. Vladimir Putin gave Donald Trump a strict 15-minute window to make a late-night phone call to the Kremlin after White House peace talks with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Laura Ingraham that after his discussions with Zelensky and a host of European leaders on Monday, Trump wanted to call Putin to organize a meeting with the Ukrainian president. Is that not pathetic to anyone else that Putin's like, you can call me, I guess you have 15 minutes, whatever, like I don't really want to talk to you. And Trump was like, yeah, let me get on the phone right now. He ran out of the room. I know he can't run with those swollen cankles of his, but he ran out of the room to go take a call from Putin. What leverage does that give us? Trump always talks about being so tough and so strong. I have all the leverage. But when you're giving it away that easy, you don't, Donald. You just look pathetic, which is exactly how Donald Trump looked in a leaked example of giving away Putin a gift, but now the White House is panicking over. Trump's tacky gift to European leaders revealed. After leaked documents claim that Trump gifted Russian President Vladimir Putin a ceremonial bald eagle desk statue During their not-so-frigid meeting in Anchorage on Friday, the White House seemed to make a hasty attempt to show it isn't playing favorites. On Monday, it released a series of photos on Twitter showing what appears to be 7 pen holders, each plastered with the official White House seal and Donald Trump's signature. At least 7 European leaders were present for Trump's Russia-Ukraine peace summit that day, held at the Oval Office. In the photo, the president sits behind the iconic Resolute desk with a semicircle of Europe's most powerful figures arranged in front of him. Pens can also be seen next to the holders, but it's unlikely the added stationery quite equals the value or symbolism of a bald eagle statue. The Daily Beast reached out to the White House for comment. Of course, they didn't respond. So Donald Trump and Carolyn Leavitt are so desperate to cover up the fact that they are giving Putin gifts and big ol' hugs and kisses on the cheek, and they're like late night, like texting emojis, like a little winky face. I don't want to say anything else that Donald Trump might want to send to Vladimir Putin because this is a PG show most of the time. But they were so desperate to cover that up and be like, oh no, we give everybody gifts. It's like, here's a pen. It's like, I'm surprised they didn't give him like those little like White House M&Ms. It's like, hey, President Macron, do you like M&Ms? It's equal to a golden bald eagle statue and a big old hug. It's embarrassing, but it just goes to show how idiotic this administration is. Their cover-ups are almost as bad as their crimes. Like it is blatant just how much they are on Putin's side. Trump is fully in. He's fully bought in. And he just talks about it all the time. And no one has done a better job ripping into him for that than Lawrence O'Donnell did right here.
And that, Donald, is why people say it's such a terrible thing that you feel warmth for that murderous dictator when you see him. Quote, when he got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth that you can't, there's a decent feeling. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. People would say, oh, that's such a terrible thing. Not a terrible thing. Yes, it's a terrible thing. Is that what you felt when you saw Jeffrey Epstein getting off his plane in Palm Beach? He got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth that you can't, there's this, it's a decent feeling. Is that what you felt, Donald, when you saw Jeffrey Epstein? And speaking of crazy, Donald Trump told his Fox worshipful questioners this morning this about Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine.
This is the biggest bad situation since World War II. There's been nothing even close.
Oh, yes, there has, Donald. The war you avoided back when your ankles were slim and a local doctor wrote a note to your draft board saying that you had bone spurs in your feet that then spent the rest of their lives playing golf. The Vietnam War was much bigger and much worse situation than the war in Ukraine, and it went on much longer, especially for the American soldiers who went to Vietnam in your place. 58,000 of them have their names on a wall near where you live now because they never came home from Vietnam, and no amount of lying the way you do and exaggerating the military death tolls in Ukraine will ever bring those death tolls up to the level of the Vietnam War, which also included the deaths of as many as 2 million civilians in that war. And the Vietnam military, the North Vietnamese military, the Viet Cong fighters, between 200,000 and 250,000 of them, including South Vietnamese soldiers. Donald Trump did say one thing about Vladimir Putin today that wasn't crazy, but it is something that everyone else has already been saying about Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump today became the last one to realize this when Donald Trump told his Fox Morning friends, quote, it's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal. That's right, Donald. That's possible. That's why everyone thought you were crazy yesterday when you were overheard on a hot mic telling the president of France that Vladimir Putin would make a deal for you, just to do you a favor.
I think he wants to make a deal. I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand? As crazy as it sounds.
4, 3.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. The European intervention stopped Donald Trump from doing anything crazy with Vladimir Putin, but nothing can stop Donald Trump from saying ignorant things, things Donald Trump knows nothing about. Something Donald Trump does know about is how many times his name appears in the Epstein files. His attorney general and deputy attorney general, who used to be his criminal defense lawyers, rushed to the Oval Office after they put thousands of FBI agents to work studying the Epstein files to tell Donald Trump exactly how many times his name appears in the Epstein files and in what way his name appears in the Epstein files. The House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed the Epstein files from the Justice Department, demanding that the files be delivered tomorrow. The Justice Department has offered a compromise of beginning to deliver the Epstein files on Friday of this week, 2 days late, and only beginning to deliver them. The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, who will join us in a moment, says that that is not good enough. And now a Senate committee is pressing its legal right to obtain the Epstein files by law. Federal law says that the two committees, the House Government Operations Committee and the Senate Governmental Affairs Committee, can request information from any executive agency, including the Justice Department, if any 5 members of that committee ask for the information. And today, 7 members of the Senate Governmental Affairs Committee, all Democrats, wrote to the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, directing her, quote, to produce to this committee the full and complete Epstein files as identified by the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Federal law says that the Attorney General is bound by law, by a federal law, which says that an executive agency, quote, shall submit any information requested of it relating to any matter within the jurisdiction of the committee. That applies to the governmental affairs committees only.
There are a lot of words we can use to describe Donald Trump's presidency: corrupt, criminal, dangerous, aggravating, embarrassing. Pathetic is certainly reaching the top of that list. Is it not? Don't you think so? Like, it is. It's pathetic. Donald Trump has failed to secure any of the trade deals he said were coming in 90 days. I think we've got 2, and one of them is with the moon, probably. And then he just what? He just bends the knee to Putin? Like, where's the strengthness? Where's the strengthness? Where's the toughness? Where's the strength? Now I sound like Donald Trump. I can't talk. Where's the ability to get through a sentence, Don? It's pathetic. That's all it is. It's just pathetic. And we're going to keep calling it out on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.